So welcome to Monday afternoon mindful movement. Please take the next couple of minutes to settle yourself, get what you need to practice today. And if you're able to, our session will be about an hour long. And we'll be using the chair, but as always, if you don't have a chair, you can always go to the floor. And if you don't need to have a specific yoga chair with no arms and an open back. If you have just a kitchen chair, that's fine as well. And I'll give variations as you move along. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you tuned in. Personally, I had a little resistance today. I have these fluctuations of energy. In the afternoon, my energy gets to be really low, unless I sort of almost have to make myself do something or change the energy in some way. And then I always look forward to this time at 3:30 to come online and offer these mindful movement sessions. And I can feel my energy even just shift when I start thinking about it and start preparing. So just realizing that there will always be some resistance to just about to anything that we need to do or that we want to do or have to do. Is there always resistance? I guess there isn't always resistance, but just recognize that there could be resistance. Just move forward. Just do what we have to do. Get dressed. Nourish ourselves, make some tea, make some coffee, just get up and start moving around if that energy is tamasic, if it's lethargic energy. And sometimes the energy is very high energy, it's rajasic, and it's a racing sort of anxiety energy. And then same thing, just do what we have to do. And the key to each and every one of these shifts in energies is breathing. And breathing consciously, knowing that you're breathing, taking a breath in and go, I know I am breathing. And somewhere in your mind or your body or your spirit will know the value of it. But have it become a habit just to take a pause and take a break and take a couple of breaths. 7 breaths is 1 minute, just about 7 breaths or 7 calm breaths. So if you can have a couple of blankets to sit on or sit on your chair. And we'll begin in a couple of minutes just to begin our mindful movement with the ring of a bell. And in the meantime, let's breathe together, shall we? Taking in a nice deep breath and collectively sighing out together. So wherever you are, if you're able to actually set up a space and be here together for this whole hour of yoga practice, mindful movement, awesome. But if you're here, if you just can even take a couple of breaths together, we'll all benefit. Breathing in collectively and exhaling out a collective sigh. A landing here in this moment. Nice long sigh. A nice deep inhalation, bringing in fresh prana, fresh energy. Breathing out old stale energy, stuckenness, anything that we don't need in this moment. 3 more breaths as such. Perhaps you can let go of the exhalation with a sigh and just breathe in and out through your nose if possible. An even length of an inhalation and an even length of an exhalation, samavriti. Conscious breathing, bringing us into this present moment. If you are in a place, in a space where you feel comfortable, you close your eyes. And then for the next couple of breaths, when you breathe in, see if you can hold the breath at the top of the inhalation for a couple of seconds, maybe 3 or 4 count. And exhaling, equal length, samavriti, and holding the breath at the end of the exhalation. The very end of the exhalation, the belly draws back and the navel goes slightly up. See if you can stay present with that breath, holding the exhalation for about 3 or 4 counts. Keeping the shoulders back, balancing the center of the brain right over the bowl of the pelvis, so the breath has full access to the lungs, front and back, right side, left side. An easy hold at the beginning of the inhalation and an easy hold at the end of the exhalation. Breathing in such a way for about 3 to 4 breath cycles. I gotta turn down the tea water. And then you can just let that go. See if you can stabilizing the body in your space, being aware of where you're sitting, being aware of where you're standing, in the chair, in the kitchen, living room, on the floor. And then just letting that go, be present with the overall awareness of the body and where you are in space, and a bare attention to the breath. Whatever arises, take care not to push it away, but take care not to follow. Bring the palms together in front of the heart, rolling the shoulders back. If you're seated on a chair, move to the front of the chair, so about 1/3 of your thighs on the chair, and your knees are coming straight out of your hips, and your toes facing forward, eye of the knee facing the toes, with a kind of a sense of lengthening out from the sacrum around to the outer knee and coming into the rolling around to the inner knee, to the inner groins. Circular action of the upper legs from the sacrum broadening around to the outer knees and inner knees rolling into the groins. Sometimes like I just did, and you can release your hands if you like, and just trace that breath. Take that awareness of energy from bringing your thumbs or to your sacrum, and then bringing it around, lining the outer side of your leg, your thigh, around the front of the knee, and then inner thigh into the groins. So being aware of the right side and the left side of the legs, even weight on both sits bones. And then having established that energy from the back of the knee down to the calf, down to the heel, in the front of the foot, and then up the shin, an energetic spiral down the back of the shins into the heel, equal weight on the whole heel. Notice if you carry a little weight on the outside or the inside, and out to the front of the toes, and then up the shins, down, and then up the shins. So energetically, establishing that leg energy, so that when we begin to move the arms and take the arms up over the head and take the head back and whatnot, that the legs are, as best they can, they're staying where they are. They're stable. Feel where your feet, know where your feet are. And so we'll begin with the hands at the heart, shoulders back. We'll take a couple of sun breaths, as I always like to begin. Waking up the body, waking up the breath, and connecting the breath and the body. Inhale, lifting up. Exhaling. Palms down to the earth and sweep the arms up over the head, looking up. Take the waist back and the navel back. Push the arms a little bit forward. And then stretching everything up, but pull the shoulders down. And then turn the palms out, sweep the arms back down to the earth, and then back to the heart. Levelize everything again. Get those spirals rolling in your mind's eye. Inhale, the heart, lift the heart. Exhale, you can take the chin down. Inhale, lift the head back up, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, palms down to the earth. Turn the palms up, sweeping the arms. Exhaling down. 2 or 3 more times on your own time. Movement with breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhaling the heart to the hands and the hands to the heart. Exhaling the palms to the earth. Inhale, sweeping the palms. Exhaling down. One more time. Inhale, exhale, sweep the arms up. Stretch through the fingers. Stretch the space between the fingers. Feel the space between the fingers. Feel the space on the outside of the arm and the inside of the arm. Feel the energy between your palms. Even as your arms lift up, so your arms are up over the head, fingers extending up to the heavens, but drop the sits bones down into the earth. Feel where your legs are. And stretch up again, lengthen up through the side body while pressing down into the floor and exhaling the hands back down to the lap. And just receive. Just take a moment to breathe and receive. Normalize, levelize. And then we interlock the fingers, and we'll do a couple of these sun breaths. So some of this over this past, it's been almost about 2 months since we've been practicing together in this way. Many of you have been here for many of my sessions. And so hopefully some of this becomes more repetitious. So that when I say, give instructions and whatnot, you already know maybe even perhaps what I'm going to say, and you can organically move on your own, and then don't have to be caught up in what I'm saying. Just kind of follow your own intuition. So with this, we'll be doing the ego breath with the interlocked fingers and at the chin. Roll the shoulders back. Take the waist back and the navel back again. So we tend to roll forward on our sits bones, or we collapse back on the sits bones. So something while you're sitting, you can always, almost every time you make a movement, you can adjust to be on the center of the sits bones. That way you're levelizing the diaphragm right over the bowl of the pelvis. So you can think of a pelvic diaphragm, and then the diaphragm that separates the upper body from the lower body, and you want those to move in an even way. You can even imagine that there's a diaphragm at the throat, and that you want the throat diaphragm, front and back, right side, left side, to be level. Where the center of the brain, there's a brain diaphragm too. And so those 4 diaphragms you can keep in your mind's eye. They're energetic, of course, and you want to keep those level with each other. The top right over the bottom. Subtle, yet something to think about, something curious, maybe something to work with for the next 20 years. So keeping those diaphragms all level. And what we're going to do, ego breath. Interlocking the fingers at the right below the chin, and then inhale the elbows up and take the chin back. And then roll the elbows together and bring the chin down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And spend on your own time. You can spend spend some time with the chin down and spend some time with the chin up, letting the weight of the head lengthen the cervical when you're bringing the head down, and when you're lengthening the head to bring the head back. You can have your eyes closed or have a soft, steady gaze, following the movement of your elbows. So when your head's down, the head is being supported by the hands, and the weight of the elbows down, and when the head is up, your head is being supported by the cradle of your shoulders. And breathing, inhale up, exhale down. 2 or 3 more times. Again, not pushing, not forcing. Exhaling down. Last one. Inhaling the elbows up. Take a couple of breaths. Maybe add a little bit of a back bend. We're lifting the heart up even more. And exhaling the chin all the way down. And inhale, invite the head back up with the hands, and then bring the hands down to the knees, and take a pause here, a repose. So finding a steady gaze, not necessarily at the screen. Aperture closed down a little bit, even though you're aware of your surroundings around you. A soft, steady gaze. Little micro movements if necessary to readjust the bones. Levelize those 4 diaphragms: the pelvic diaphragm, the actual diaphragm, front, back, right side, left side, diaphragm of the throat, connected in the front and the back and the right side, left side, and the diaphragm of the brain. All level. And expanding when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Kind of like floating jellyfish, all lined up, one on top of each other. Sometimes I like to imagine my brain, my head, as floating on the surface of the water, and that my spine is just floating below, flowing freely and effortlessly below. Crown of the head gently being lengthened up to the sky, and the spine itself flowing. Some interesting thing to imagine. Again, you can work with that for another 20 years and then come back to me with questions. So let's go ahead and we'll take a little bit of a twist, as always. So gentle movements in these classes. Certainly, sometimes what is the hardest thing to do is just stay present and pay attention, especially if you're used to doing more advanced, strong movements, or if you're not used to moving mindfully at all. Both can get in the way. So again, if you're seated on the floor, then you take your right hand around to the floor, or if maybe you're sitting up on some blankets, and you can take hold of that blanket. If you're seated in a chair, bring your right hand around to the back of the chair, the arm of the chair, or the right side. So whatever way you can comfortably bring your right arm around. And then find those spirals in the legs again. So the legs stay steady. Maybe lift the toes so you can feel your arches activate. Notice if you're carrying the weight evenly on the four corners of the feet. The whole heel, inner and outer heel, and the front of the ball mounds on the right side and the left side. So we often have a tendency to sink outward or sink inward. And then, so you've initiated the twist by bringing the right arm around. See if you can bend that right elbow to drop the shoulder and press the shoulder blade into the back a little. And then your left hand comes around to your right knee, palm facing out, or gently pressing into the knee. Knee presses into the arm, and the arm presses into the knee. Levelize those diaphragms and breathe. 3 breaths. Breathe all the way up into the armpit chest. Breathe into the back body. Breathe into the side body. Maybe twisting a little bit deeper on the exhalation. And inhaling the breath. Lengthen and exhaling, come back around. Keep all that length that you've gained, turn a little to the left side, and then back to center. Some perfect movements to do for yourself in the middle of a work day, or in the middle of a slack day, wherever, either way, to shift and change that energy. So now the left hand comes around, either to the back of the blanket if you're seated on the floor itself. Maybe all the way over to the back of the chair, or maybe to the side of the chair, wherever you're at, and take a breath just to reestablish your knees. When we go to the left, the knees tend to roll, maybe to the left, maybe they go to the right. With your right hand, resist into your left knee, and your left knee into your right hand. And just receive the initial twist. Bending your left elbow a little back to drop your left shoulder blade and move it forward. And then levelize all those four diaphragms, the brain, the throat, the abdominal diaphragm, and the pelvic. In your mind's eye. And then taking 3 breaths or so. Inhaling, lengthening. Maybe twisting a little deeper on the exhalation. Stay present. Where did you go? lengthen. Exhale, come back around all the way over to the other side and back to the front again. And then we'll take a forward extension with the twist. So with your hands on your knees, plant your feet again, establish those spirals from the sacrum out to the outer knee, and then drawing in from the inner knee to the groins, deep into the groins. So you see if you can feel a separation between your legs and your abdomen, your stomach. See if you can feel where the legs end and where the trunk begins. And then hinging at that space, leaning, coming forward with the heart. We'll go forward and back a few times. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down, lead with the heart. Maybe you only go 1 or 2 inches forward until you start to feel a pull. Maybe you can go a little bit, bringing your trunk inside your legs, and then you can separate your legs a little bit, but you don't want to don't let the legs roll out. Keep that action of the outer thighs into the inner groins. And then we'll add a little twist. We'll twist to the right side, right elbow, right hand comes to your right knee, or left hand comes to the right knee, and then right arm comes up. Or you can, if you can make it all the way down to the floor, so it's like a revolving spiral energy from your spine all the way up to the crown of the head. Stretch up through the fingers, and then keep that lengthening to bring yourself back up, and then go over to the other side. Right hand comes to the right knee or to the floor. Press down in the floor, and then lift up your left arm. Shoulders down, shoulders belong to the back. Stretch up like the sun breath, even the spaces between your fingers. Feel the space in front of your arm and behind the arm. Compress the left ribs. So your left and right ribs are like 2 train tracks, even though they're twisted over to the side. So we don't want to have curves in our train tracks, straight train tracks. Good. Stretch up, come back, and we'll go to the other side another time. Again, awareness of, even though the trunk is twisting and turning, that the right side and the left side is level, like 2 train tracks. And don't sink into your left elbow, don't sink into the floor. Keep the shoulders lifted. Maybe twisting a little deeper this time. Even taking hold of the back of the chair. And then inhale, lengthen to come back. Switch over to the other side. Take a moment to switch sides, and then be here in the initial movement. Find your breath. And then extend or lift or lengthen with the breath. And then come back to the breath. The breath is dictating the posture. And I have to still remind myself of that, even after 35 or something crazy years of yoga. Good. Open up, stretch up, come back to center. And then what I like to call Tadasana again. Just be here, breathe. Align those 4 diaphragms, the brain, the throat, abdominal diaphragm, pelvic, front, back, right side, left side, level. And you don't have to close your eyes to turn inward. You can keep that soft, steady gaze. Sometimes closing your eyes sends you to a whole different space. So just keeping the eyes with a steady, soft gaze, not staring, and then noticing the energetics of these movements. Waking up the intercostals of muscles, the spiral twist activates your abdominal organs. Free up the shoulders, free up the cervical, getting into the lumbar. So real nice ways to give yourself some nice love and attention. We need to have loving kindness to ourselves. Especially if we're having trouble giving loving kindness out into the world. If you start with ourselves. So then we'll go into some chair standing postures. So you can do these postures. If you don't have a chair, then you can just be down on the floor and make adjustments as best that you can. But if you have a chair, you can turn in the chair so your right leg comes in front and your left leg comes behind. And then if you can't stretch that back leg, so I have this, for me, this perfect sized chair. If you're very tall and you're in the chair and you can do these movements, add a blanket or two so that when you're sitting with your leg, your hips and your knees can be in line with each other and your foot can be solidly on the floor. Now I take some height, and then if it's the perfect height, you'll be able to keep the pelvis level. So if you're not if you don't want to do these postures in the chair, start in the wide leg position, in this Parsvakonasana position, and then turn towards the right side, and then step your left leg out a little bit. And then you'll take these warrior poses, extending the arms up, extending the trunk forward, turning the trunk. But if you're in the chair and you want to just be in the chair, you can straighten that back leg unless it strains your back. Or so you can, if it strains your back, have your left leg just be in the same position as where we were sitting, right? So we're helping to wake up the hips. So if you're in the chair in this Virabhadrasana 1 position, nice crack of the back here. My knee is facing my heel, and my whole thigh is on the chair. And you can bring your left arm around you to the back of the chair, perhaps. Keep that shoulder back, stretch up through the right arm. Active stretch the back of that right leg. And then so my right hand is left hand behind me, but I can actually bring my arm to the chair on this side. I don't know if I can do it on the other side. Take your right hand to the side of the chair and press the chair. Now, with the feedback of your right arm at your sacrum, take the waist back and the navel back. So you're not overarching right at the low lumbar. You're not pressing into the kidneys and adrenals. Keep those floating ribs moving into the skin. So you're not compressing. Compressing, not compressing. We don't want to compress. Minimizing. So when we press those organs in that hyped up back, we're sending out stress hormones. So let yourself come forward in the chair. So you've got this one arm up. And then see if you can so then bring yourself around, take hold of the chair, your right hand to the back of the chair. That's where I was at. And then the head comes up. The back bend comes from the heart chest, not from pressing the low ribs into the body. Opening up the throat. So the diaphragm, the head can go back, but the diaphragm of the throat and the actual abdominal and the pelvis is still level. And then go ahead and let yourself come forward a little bit. Take your right hand down. So if you're on the ground, if you're not in the chair, bend down into this lunge position. Pull the right hip around and take the right arm up. So you're twisting. My hips are level, same as if I was in the chair. The trunk back, arm over, around. If you come off the chair, you can use the chair for a kickstand. Let your trunk lie over that leg. And then keeping the leg level, turn the trunk back to center. So be very careful of your low back. So here, I'm bringing my left leg back to that sitting position, and my right leg is out. So I've got this angle here. And stretch out through that leg, right leg, and open up. So my thigh is on the chair, and then see if you can lift that leg and maybe reach out and take hold of the toe and open up. Shoulders back. Right side and left side of the trunk is long, even. Don't push out your ribs. Lift up those inner right ribs. Turn. Maybe add the arm. Maybe you can bring the arm all the way over. Lengthen as you keep lifting up that leg and bring the leg down. And then we'll go to the other side. Thank God we only have two sides. Most yoga postures have two sides to them, the right side and the left side. So now I'm turning. So if you were on the floor, I'm sure you made some sort of adjustments to whatever I was doing, and maybe you organically came up with some of your own movements. If not, here we are now. So facing the left side, my right leg behind me, or my right leg in this sitting position. Just keeping my right leg level and swinging my left leg around. So you have this angle right here, 45-degree square angle, I think. But if you can stretch out through that back leg, take more of the full pose, and then my right hand comes around to the back of the chair. My left hand taking the back of the chair. Take the waist back, navel back. So again, don't push into those ribs. Balance pose, lifting up the right, left arm. Really press back into that left leg. You can add the arm if you like. Back bend is in the heart chest. And lengthen. So then coming forward, right hand to the floor, and so you can be off of the chair if you like, or on the chair, and swing the left arm up. Sacrum level. All those diaphragms in line with each other. If you want to turn the head, drop the chin. To roll the chin. Coming back around. Make your way back up. Take your right leg forward again. Coming into this square angle. Right leg forward like you were sitting forward. Left leg around. Oh my gosh, this side, I don't even know if I can do it. I can't really do it. So I'm going to hold up that, just extend that leg. Pulling up on the kneecap. So the muscles that you need to activate that leg, that's Tadasana. I can take it. Rolling your right shoulder around. So I'm holding on. You can take hold of the back of the thigh or the knee, or if you extend all the way out, but don't collapse. My right side and left side are long. Holding on to the back of the right, holding on to the chair so I'm not going to fall off the chair. On this side, I can't let go or else I'll fall over. Spiral. Keep that leg active. Inhale, coming back up. And then bring the foot back around to center and just receive. Again, keeping your eyes open just with a steady, soft gaze. And just feeling. So even I'm trying not to think about what's coming next. I'm not trying to think about what we just did. I'm just trying to receive, trying to stay as well as you, and to not necessarily have to think about what's going on in the future. Bring myself to this present moment, to this mindful moment now. You can close your eyes as well, but if that sends you to a whole different place, then it's better to keep your eyes slightly open. So maybe only takes about 5 breaths, maybe 10, maybe even 3, for everything to normalize and for you to check in with all the different parts of your body, your feet, your knees, where you are in space, the diaphragms, breathing, noticing. The more you do it, the more organically you'll be able to go inward and feel that. So just for a moment, I just want to go back and show you. So we turned and we did kind of a Virabhadrasana 1 with the leg bent out and the leg straight. Come forward, came back, bring the arm around, maybe lifted, maybe did a little turn. And then we didn't do Virabhadrasana, we didn't do Parsvakonasana. So take the right leg out again and take the left leg out and then just turn. Maybe we did do this, but we didn't do it on the other side. So stretching up, stretching over. If you're not on the ground, if you're not on a chair, then you're taking Parsvakonasana. Stretching out that back leg. If you need to, straight leg, right? Breathing, coming back to center. Going over to the left side. So either take your right leg out or leave it in this sitting position. Swing the left leg around. Note where you are in space. And then turning the trunk, laying out over that left leg. Adding the arm. So you can add the leg if you like. Parsvakonasana, if you're not in the chair and you are knowing, extended side angle. Feel your energy shifting in every direction, right, front, up, down, right side, left side, down to the ground and up to the heavens. Feel the whole body, feel the space between, feel the space outside of your body. And then stretching up through your right arm. Come back to the chair, come back to your seated position, come back to the floor, or come back to Prasarita. If you're not in a chair, and then go ahead and come down onto your knees. Sitting on your heels. Again, just receiving for a moment. And we'll come down onto our belly. We'll do a couple of belly down positions and then we'll roll over onto our back and play Shavasana. Shavasana is the corpse pose. First we'll do a couple of little back bends. So we have about 4 minutes down on our belly, and then we'll turn around to our back just to give you a sense of time here, but then let go of time. Be here now. Come down onto your belly. Let's see. Hope some of you guys are still with a sense of joyous curiosity. Mindful movement. So down onto your belly and then onto your elbows. So I'll move back a little bit. See what we got here. Maybe, anyway. Onto your elbows. And then press in your elbows, press out your toes. And press the pelvis down on the floor so that you almost lift up your low belly. Pressing down into your elbows, take the shoulders back. Press out through your toes. And then pull the heart chest forward. So even your pinky toes are pressing down. And then you can stick your tongue out and do the lion's roar. It's not a lion's roar, but it's, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of called a lion's breath. And then you're squeezing all of the circle around your mouth. It's really good for digestion. So just try it. Nobody's looking. You know, we got to keep our colon moving and our intestines. If that does not move, we're dead. I mean, I hate to say it, but we need to be very active with our, we need to be very aware of what moves through our body. First of all, what we take into our body and how we move it through. It's very important to not have stagnant intestines. Lift up your right leg and make it long, and then lay it down even longer, and then keep that action active in the right leg, and lift up the left leg and make it really long, and then even longer to bring the toes down, and then lift up the heart chest, sphinx, and then go ahead and lower down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and just lift the trunk of the body up, keeping that action of the legs. Any amount. Really nice heart opener. My fingers are underneath my shoulders. You can start to lift your trunk up. Press out, especially through the pinky toe. You might even only get up 1 inch, or you might work right here. But if you can press into, maybe you can come all the way up and then throw your head back. Arms with a slight bend to keep the heart open. And then when you're coming back down, make the trunk really long. And one more time for this Cobra. Your Cobra might be just rolling the shoulders back and lifting your hands so your toes are staying on the ground. Your bottom, your butt is slightly squeezed. Maybe coming all the way up, maybe coming just up a little. Don't strain to get anywhere. And then make yourself even longer to come down. So don't just sink down to the floor. Make the belly long, 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 one vertebra at a time if it was on the floor landing. And then if you can take your feet behind you, both ankles, and then lift up into the bow pose, possibly. If not, just come onto your elbows and take your knees up and swing your knees from side to side. But if you are able to keep the thighs down and take the hands to the heels, you come onto this upward bow. And then lengthening to bring the legs back down, lower down, take a few breaths with the spine neutral before rolling over onto your back. And we'll all roll over onto our back. Take the knees up to the chest, drop, and then roll the knees up towards as close to the trunk as possible, and roll over to the right side, catching the knees, looking to the left, and then roll the knees up And then go over to the left side, catching the knees with your left arm. Roll the knees up. Bring the knees slightly less close. So we're going to do 3 times and then Shavasana. Knees to the chest, knees a little lower, and then knees a little lower down. So knees a little lower. So we'll twist 3 different parts of the spine. Doesn't matter how far the knees go down, doesn't matter how far, just breathe. Inhale, exhale the legs back up, and the legs go over to the other side. 1 or 2 breaths. Inhale the legs back up, exhale them over to the side, a little bit lower. A little bit further away. So the twist is going to be in a different part of the back. Inhale the legs up and exhale them over to the other side. Inhale the legs up. Draw the knees to your chest. Maybe stretch the legs in any way. And then bring the feet to the floor and collapse. You can collapse now. Press into your arms and roll the shoulders under your back. Scoot your sacrum a little bit so you're on the whole sacrum. And then stretch the heels out. And do all that again. Come completely onto the bones of your back body, including the heels. And then come to stillness. I'll keep track of the time. 5 minutes, but then let that go. And just come home to this breath. And this body. In this moment. Close your eyes, relax your eyes. Now you're lying still, but maybe your mind is wildly going. What am I doing? What have I done? Where am I going? Come just simply, but lovingly and firmly and consistently keep coming back, body and breath. Where your body is, how it's being supported by the earth, where your breath is. Turn your inner gaze, drop it straight back, the occipital to the back of the brain, the base of the skull, and then into the heart. Inner gaze, dropping to the back of the base of the skull and then mirroring into the heart. You can sigh out for the first couple of exhalations and then see if you can come to a Samavriti. Equal inhalation, equal exhalation. Feel the belly expand as you breathe in. And the belly drop back down to the earth as you breathe out. Again, be aware and celebrate when your mind is wandering and planning or thinking or anything or judging, certainly aware and taking care not to follow, but or not to push away, just invite the attention back to the body and the breath. The lips part, that's fine. Notice where you're holding in the jaw, the cheeks, the forehead. Gradually making your way back to normal waking consciousness. Invite your inhalations to be a little bit deeper and your exhalations a little bit longer. And as much of an awareness coming out of the pose, out of the Shavasana as you had going in, take your time. Be aware of your breath as it percolates outward once again to your fingers and your toes. Be aware of your awareness as it percolates out with your breath. And when you feel ready, perhaps little micro movements, wiggling the hands and the toes, the feet. Maybe I like to bring my arms up over the head, and just even with the movement, just seeing if where I can let go a little bit more, and just very much staying with sensation. No need to bound outward. Give yourself the time. Your nervous system really loves this opportunity just to stay in relax mode. When you feel ready, rolling to the side, take a few breaths there. So take care not to just bound up, but train yourself to take your time coming out of relaxation, Savasana, rolling to the side, take a few breaths there. if you're able to be on your back for Shavasana. If you just have been participating while you're, moving around the house, or while you're even sitting at a desk doing work or something, or sitting on the couch, just consciously not bound forward. When you feel ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position, and just take a few breaths there. The world is waiting for you. It's still there. Maybe you have changed internally. We are not this body. We are not this mind. Who am I? Is the question to keep asking yourself in all this practice. Who am I? Beyond what we normally think we are. We're a mother. We're a caregiver. We're a sister. We're a daughter. We're a worker. Beyond that, when we let go of the body and we let go of the mind, we realize we're not the body, we're not the mind. Certainly our body is a different body than it was an hour ago, and it's different than it was yesterday, and it's different than it's going to be tomorrow. Everything, those are impermanent. Celebrate impermanence. Whatever's going on out there in the world, this will end, but something else will be in its way. Things have changed, but they always change. So having a practice where we can come back to that center in the midst of tumultuous turmoil and in the midst of staggering depression. Always come home to your breath. Be like a tree. You must be firmly rooted. Such is the first law. Then grow and assert yourself. At this moment, open yourself. Stretch out your arms to feel your radiation around you, and then bring the universe back to you with your head held high, for it touches the sun. Be deep, wide, tall, truly a tree of life. A short reading from Lizelle Raymond. Be deep, wide, tall, truly a tree of life. You must be firmly rooted. Such is the first law. Take a moment perhaps to give thanks and praise to all of the cosmic conditions that allow you to have taken some time out of your busy life, or to actually peel yourself off of the couch perhaps, but just to breathe and to watch and to listen and to allow. And know that these groups of sets of postures, that is something that you don't have to do all at once, that you can do them throughout the day. If you're wherever you are, whenever you are. Twists, forward extensions, legs up, arms up, little back bends. If it can change you here and now, it can change you any time of the day. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, just let yourself organically move. And the more that you practice, the more that you're able to trust in your organic movements. So come again if you can. It's my honor and my pleasure to pass on my practice and pass on the teachings that have been given to me over all these years, and to offer them freely without any expectation. High aspirations, but no expectation. It's a gift for me. I just, as always, like to be completely honest. It just gives me something to do. And what a wonderful thing to do. So thank you very much. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. You can always send me a message for some feedback. Feel free to share these offerings off of my page. And most of them I've been being able to upload them onto the YouTube. So they're accessible for people who don't use the Facebook platform. And so you don't have to scroll through my page to find a class. I'll end, as always, with the prayer of the heart. Om Purnamada Purnamadam Purnamadachite Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamavevavashishite. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Dedicate the merit and the virtue gathered from this practice to the lasting happiness and well-being of all beings, past, present, and future, so that all beings, past, present, and future, may be happy and free and safe and healthy and free from suffering and the causes and conditions of suffering. Namaste. Thank you for taking part in this great experiment that we call life. And I hope to, I'll just be continuing on with this kind of a practice as much as possible. I don't know when I'll be back to work for the full day. I'm still delivering meals for the Richfield school kids on the bus, which is a really great honor to be able to do. And probably at least through the end of June. That's when the budget shifts. And so if I'm free in the afternoons, I will be joining you in yoga practice, mindful movement, and meditation at 8 o'clock. Join the tribe. Thank you very much. Denise, Jack, Donna, Carla, Chris, Donnie, Marcus, are you still there? I was just thinking about you. Imagine that popping up. All right, my friends. See you in the future for a non-virtual hug. In the meantime, peace on, calm abiding throughout your day. Always do your best. Thank you.